Oh, it definitely gives you more energy having fired up Friday here. It's already got a school spirit going. Everybody came out for it.
It's heating up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Have you been accused of being a caffeine addict? Because you're as fired up as the kids are.
Oh my goodness gracious, look out now. We're gonna win! If you haven't heard, there's a pretty big football game here tonight. Do what? Do what? Do what? Do what?
Let's talk about the origin of this. So what did you think at first when David, our GM, approached you and said, we have this idea? Were you fired up right away, or did you think,
When you think about our area here, how much people care about their schools, the school spirit that's around, and how much people care about football, of course, I want to give it a shot, right? But then you start thinking about, okay, 6 a.m., how are we going to sell this to these schools? We haven't done this before. We don't really have anything to show them of this is how it's going to go, this is what it's going to look like, this is how successful it can be. We're really relying on them to trust us and say, hey, have everybody at your school at 6 a.m. and let us handle the rest.
It's Fired Up Friday, and all season long we're going to be taking you out to pep rallies, yes, this early in the morning as football season gets into high gear now in all three of our states. News Channel 3's Joseph Payton kicking off the whole thing in Winfield, where the Generals are fired up.
Well, Rob, it's a little hard to hear, as you can imagine. It's pretty obvious why we picked Winfield for week 1. The war on 34, if you can't tell that these people are fired up, there's something wrong with you. If you're not fired up for week 1 of football in West Virginia, there's something wrong with you.
I watched that first week, Winfield, and I was blown away. Is that the general reaction that you got?
I think so. You know, I went to the Winfield Hurricane game that night, and I was surprised at how many parents were like, hey, we watched this morning, like that was awesome.
I'm always down to do everything what Coach Smolder asks me.
Walked into school here earlier this week on Wednesday, mistakenly in a red t-shirt. They almost ran me out of here. What would happen if somebody did that tonight?
They're out. They got to be in white or green, preferably white, but Winfield color. We need everyone there in white.
Let's do Generals on 3. 1, 2, 3, Generals!
Thank goodness for the teachers and the students at Winfield for how intense they were, how energetic and enthusiastic they were, because then each week the next school is trying to outdo the last one.
And it set the stage, because then after all that success and people saw how the kids reacted, how the teachers reacted, the school staff, how you reacted, they saw that happen. And then we had things like Buffalo, Ironton, Cabell Midland, Huntington, Ashland, all very, very notable.
I had to enlist the help of a friend. Their defense is very weak. We think we can put up 100 on them.
These people need to know that we're going to win. Unlike our opponents, we actually like to play teams that have a winning record.
Are you serious right now, bro?
I have absolutely loved going into these schools and learning about them and getting to showcase what makes them who they are.
Everybody shows up. It just brings energy. Everyone that supports Ashland and has gone to Ashland just feels like it's a big family.
And just like on Friday nights, when you see the tank packed, it really is a special place.
Growing up in the Spring Valley community, ever since we were little, we love our community and we love Spring Valley.
We're gonna show up and we're gonna be loud. We're the #1 student section in the nation.
Turnout is great at every game. Our student section is great. They cheer as loud as they can every game. They show out for our boys and us. Since we're such a small school, this is time for everybody to come together. And we all get to spend this time together and really build school morale.
think about the contrast between some of the smaller schools that we went to and some of the bigger schools. You wouldn't know it on air. Buffalo, close to 200 that showed up. I mean, what's that tell you about the culture that they have?
I'm about that life, you know? I like these W's. We're going to get one today. That's what life is about, winning.
When we walked into Ironton High School, there were kids tailgating in the parking lot at 4:30 in the morning.
We're working. We're fighting. We are the fighting Tigers. Do work. Do work. Do work.
I'm not sure if any of these yahoos got to sleep. They gave me one.
The Fighting Tigers got up very early for Fired Up Friday. Would they be able to bring it tonight?
Listen, if you bought Mountain Dew stock in Lawrence County, Ohio today, you went through the roof. You made some cash. Let's put it that way.
Cabell Midland had more students than I think I've ever seen in my life at theirs.
It's crazy they've had to wait nearly a whole month for their first home game here. Isn't that one of the best fight zones in the area, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
Huntington High thinks out of the box and says, let's go 2 locations. Let's do a bonfire, and then let's go inside. Unbelievable. I mean, how could you predict something like that months ago?
You've talked about it a little bit, but talk about it a little more. All the work that goes into this show, all the prep work. There's so much prep work that goes into this show.
Jay Melvin has been awesome about making sure everything went smoothly on Fridays because he would go out there and do those things a week in advance.
Jay Melvin's, he's running the camera, but at the same time, he's essentially an executive field producer out there.
I had never done a 3-camera shoot, live shot, for a whole hour. This was a whole other beast. Only because we had multiple cameras, multiple photographers, multiple live packs that we go live with. Yeah, every bit of it's live. So if you screw up, there it is. You can't go back and redo it.
How can I help you?
We're here with WSAZ.
Come on in.
When we were speaking with them in kind of our pre-pep rally meetings, having a plan is such a big thing. You can't really just do a pep rally and go out there and wing it. And I thought maybe that's what this was going to be. It has not been that.
Their names, there are 2 questions. Okay. Then we've got the band.
We would always have to go test and see if the Wi-Fi signal would be okay. Do we need to plug in? Are we good with the Wi-Fi?
Because I tested that the other day, and we were fine on cellular service. Now, Dally was still trying to get Wi-Fi.
You have to have a live shot. There's no option of not doing it. We have to have a way to be live.
Well, yeah, somebody will get the idea and end up doing it next year, I bet.
What's your typical Friday like? What time do you wake up, and then before the show starts, what happens with you? Are you a morning person?
No, not at all. It is 3:53.
I had to get up at 2 a.m., pack everything up, hopefully leave by 4, be there by 5.
She's with me when John's not with me.
Yes.
John's already here. He's ready to go.
What time did you all wake up this morning?
4 a.m.
4 a.m.
Time for Thundersticks.
That's right.
Setting up the monitors right now.
Jay would always bring monitors out there so the kids could see when they were on air and when they weren't.
4th or 5th one, John Green and I and Sarah, we had it set up in 5 minutes, maybe 10.
Yeah, we'll probably set these up high.
I have to be set up and ready to go 15 minutes before we're even on air.
Come on in.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Are they in here? We're the only people in this gym right now. It won't be that way for long. What's in the cup? What are we drinking?
Coffee.
But once we get to the actual live, then it seems like it's all right.
Showtime.
And that's the behind the scenes stuff that people don't get to see. There's so many moving parts that are going on behind the camera that people don't get to see. And you probably, obviously, that's kind of got to be entertaining for you and Jay.
We're about 2 minutes away.
That is our itinerary for the day. Probably some things on there that are not planned will happen. Before shots, we try to communicate as best as possible.
It's around 6:40.
Okay.
That means 6:38. Could mean 6:42. So I'll give you a countdown, and I'll stand over there with you guys. Okay?
I'm gonna have them playing cadence right now.
Yep. That works. Right here for the camera. We'll cue you up for it, okay? I'll let you know. We had you all stand over here, and we'll put our camera guy here. It'll be Jay Melvin. That's his name.
Okay, so he'll be angled this way.
We'll be shooting this way.
Okay.
Are you guys like fully sprinting out of this thing in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Boo the crap out of it. And then the Tiger's gonna tackle me or something.
Can we rip it?
I mean, if you want. Yeah. If you want to take it from me and rip it.
It's really, really loud out there, and it's organized chaos. That's how I would best describe it.
High school football really into the home stretch. It is the final week in Ohio. I can't believe we're already there. 1 more week to go in Kentucky, 2 more in West Virginia. News Channel 3's Joseph Payton live at South Charleston High School, where the Black Eagles host St. Albans tonight.
Well, Rob, it is senior night here in South Charleston. That means it is all business. St. Albans is coming to town. The Eagles ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to rock and roll, and we're flapping our wings today, baby. We're flapping our wings out here.
You have to be kind of one of the most energetic people when you roll in, or else it's going to show. I can't have 85 to 750 crazy students behind me, and I'd be the one half asleep.
Neither one of us could hear anything. I had Anna and Kristen and our TMPs in this ear.
Next one is in about 4 minutes.
Joseph was in this ear. Before each shot, he would come and tell me, here's the game plan.
We're going to start with the band. I'm going to say a few words, and then I'll let you freestyle it. And so there are times when we're in this crowd of students, band, cheerleaders, football players, that I might have to go run up to Jay and help him find me. Communication has been super key.
How much time do we have?
All right, JP, your next full live hit is in 9 minutes.
All right, 2.5 minutes till the bump, and the next one's not for another 8 minutes, live shots. I would know what he wanted to do. He'd say, okay, well, the band's gonna play next, and I'll go over to the cheerleader. He'd tap me on the back, and then I would kind of look over here, and he would be there, so we'd go get another interview. We gotta get this set up. The logistics sometimes gets a little crazy in here. I'll bring y'all over here if you wanna step over the cord.
Usually John Green or Sarah Bankson on the other end, and they're the ones that when people have asked me, like, man, it looks really good, how many camera shots do you have? They're the ones that are off doing all these other cool shots. They're thinking outside of the box that we don't really even have to tell them those things.
She's gonna be coming your way, so you'll have to. Yeah, I'm going. I tried my best not to screw up. I tried my best not to trip over anything.
We've had some near misses with cheerleaders tumbling around.
Energy, and I think if we have a good crowd, and I think based on this pep rally tonight or today, that we're going to have a pretty big outcome.
Anna and Kristen communicating with the students to get them fired up and make sure they know, hey, you're on camera right now.
When you're all done with like your interview and all that kind of stuff, if you'll just keep playing,
okay, cool.
so that it's loud.
Yeah. 15 seconds. So it takes a lot of people to make this happen. Let's give it up for the Black Eagles tonight, baby. I'll go ahead and send it back to you guys. A big night of football is in store. I can't wait.
As a pep rally goes, pep rallies are supposed to fire up the team, fire up the fans, get everybody ready for the game, and have a victory that night. There were no victories at all this season for South Charleston. You did a fired up Friday, they won that night. Yep. How excited were you just for South Charleston to win a game?
And I don't know if we propelled them to victory. We woke them up early and their whole team was there at 6 o'clock in the morning, but it was cool to see what a day they've had. You wake up, you're on the news, you're on Fired Up Friday, everyone's fired up, you do a day's worth of school, and then you finally win a game that Friday night.
First win of the season for the Black Eagles, congrats.
So I'm not taking credit for it by any stretch, but I'm just glad that those kids had that kind of day.
Thank you guys for coming. We enjoyed you guys having you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good job.
It's always right when we get done that the sun decides to come up. Another one in the books. The sun finally came out. That's all she wrote for this one. We'll head back to Huntington, put the best hits together, and get that on all the social medias and on their newscast for the rest of the day.
Okay, so from principals being pied in the face to pre-pep rally tailgating, you had bonfires. I mean, there was some real effort that went into these.
Yeah, and you know, when you think about all that effort, when we went to these schools, you got the sense that there was a competition factor here. We didn't design it as a competition, but once we started figuring out that each school was trying to one-up the last one, we said, hey, it's time to reward that.
Okay, so there's a winner then?
There's a winner.
So when you think about what all of these schools did, there was one that really stood out.
There certainly was. Each one was unique, but when you're thinking about a winner, 3 things: intensity, turnout, and creativity. And there was one that certainly stood out in all 3 of those categories.
For the first time on Fired Up Friday, we have legitimate fire. The top-ranked Highlanders.
At Huntington High, there was a lot that was different. You talk about effort. Those kids just put everything into it.
There were kids already there before the buses got there. 750 custom Fired Up Friday t-shirts. They were out of those shirts by 5:45.
They could probably see the bonfire from the International Space Station.
For now, we'll send it back to you, and then we're going inside.
Oh, now this is some Huntington High stuff here. We're chugging Mountain Dew. You gotta chug the Mountain Dew. Get it down. How are we feeling on this Friday morning? I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. You and just about everybody else in here, slopped in the face. Boom! Just watching a lot of film, playing a lot of Madden, and practicing hard.
The staff members, all the teachers are on the other side of the gym in the opposite bleachers, chanting and cheering.
Yeah, I saw my neighbor.
Drinking Mountain Dew.
Just getting it out of the holster. No way. No way. Oh my goodness. Oh my, I have no words.
Hello?
Hey, Mr. Cunningham, how's it going?
It's going excellent. Yourself?
I am great. We had a little surprise for you and wanted to let you know. We have a giant trophy that we want to give because Huntington High is our Fired Up Friday champion this season.
That's awesome. That's good news for the kids and the staff that came. I appreciate it.
I need science and English and world language to make their way down.
They kind of tricked the students into being inside the gym. They thought they were there for chemical spill shelter in place drill.
I wanted to bring everybody together to make sure I talked to you guys because, you know, at Huntington High, we do everything as best as we possibly can and the best in the area. This is you guys. This is Fired Up Friday a couple weeks ago. There was 900 plus students here. There was 100 plus employees here.
Ready?
That right there.
We went to 11 different schools, 3 different states, all over this region, and we had the absolute best time at Huntington High. It was unreal. You're the 2022 Fired Up Friday champion. That's for you. Take that out to the students. We appreciate you all.
The ceremony for the winner, that was an event in itself.
But to walk in there with that trophy and present that to them, that felt awesome because I know how hard not just the students worked, but the teachers and the administrators to make that the best one. It was great to reward that and kind of see, you could tell they were proud.
So next year, it could be even wilder.
The bar is really high now. We didn't know how low or how high that bar would be coming into this season, but all of these schools, the things that they did and what they accomplished in these pep rallies this year, number one, it made for great TV, and I think it's also setting us up for a heck of a season next year.
There's the Cats in their maroon and white jerseys.
unique, it's special. You can go to other places of this country where maybe something like this wouldn't work quite as well, but it's the passion and the emotion that people have for their schools. It's deeply rooted in them to be a Winfield General, to be a Huntington Highlander or an Ironton Fighting Tiger. It means something. Think about the last couple years that our high school age students have had. Pep rallies and things of that nature weren't happening.
This show would never have happened.
As seniors, we haven't really gotten that much of a high school experience, and I think it's a really great thing that we get to do these kinds of things.
There was a lot of school spirit, there was a lot of school pep, so we're just here to help get that started and make the school more fun for everyone.
So for us to come and maybe be the catalyst for, hey, don't forget about the pep rallies and the things that you used to do. Let's get everybody together again.
Senior year, this is our year. We come in, we take over. It's our year.
When you're at a school on Friday morning talking about their game and getting to know those kids and those teachers, you can't help but kind of want to root for them that night.
We're going to all go out there and give it all we got and play our best and come out on top at the end.
I mean, they're a blast. I had so much fun doing these. I got to do something that was fun. I couldn't wait for the next one to come on.
Awesome to see, like, not only did people watch, but they enjoyed it. And that was my thing the whole time, is I don't ever want to walk into a school and have people leave after that hour and think, man, that was a waste of my time. You know, even if it's as simple as a football game, let's celebrate that and celebrate who we are.